Hi everyone, and welcome back to Mountain View Soap. Today we are going to be making and cutting the oatmeal milk and honey soap, as well as cutting and topping the second coffee soap, which is Vanilla Cappuccino. If you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am the head soaper and the founder of Mountain View Soap, and I am so excited about both of the soaps that I'm going to show you guys today. Mainly, of course, the honey soap, because that is the main purpose of this video. I made the most adorable little soap dough bees, which I'm going to show you in just a second. And they did take a while to make, not as long as the roses that I'm going to show you in the next video, but aren't they the cutest little things you've ever seen? They presented their own issues, which I'll explain in a little while, but right now what I'm doing is weighing out my oils, because I'm going to be using the same technique that I used in the Ocean Breeze soap. If you haven't checked out that video yet, go ahead and click the little eye icon at the end of this video, or you can just stay till the end and it'll pop up on the screen, but you're definitely going to want to check that one out. And I also did create a caramel coffee soap this month as well. So what I'm doing is adding in my purple Vibrance Mica from Nurture Soap. I love this color, and I also love the way that all micas look when there's just oils and it hasn't been completely blended up yet. I tried to do a little bit better in terms of the camera job, but the lighting is still pretty terrible in the apartment. We are currently looking for new apartments as I speak, so hopefully at least by May we will have a new place to live that will be much better with all things like lighting and all of that stuff. So I am burping my stick blender, and then I'm going to blend up this beautiful color. It actually wasn't totally as dark as I wanted it to be, so in an off clip I actually added a little bit more purple. And the fragrance that I'm using today is also from Nurture Soap. It is called Oatmeal Milk and Honey. I actually love this fragrance. I also tried one from Nature's Garden, but I think I like this one more because you can smell more of the honey, whereas the Nature's Garden one was a little bit less on the honey side and more of the kind of like oatmeal and milk. I also have a fragrance from the Flaming Candle, which I like as well, and is very similar to the Nurture Soap one, which is obviously perfect because if I wanted to make the soap again I could, or I could use it for something like wax melts. And then you'll notice that I just plopped a honey bear up there, and that would be because I accidentally forgot to add honey into the base oils. So the bottom base will not have honey in it, but the middle and the top will. Typical soaper brain for me to forget. I typically forget my additives, just like I forgot the darn coffee grounds and the caramel coffee soap. Something that was really interesting with this though is the honey actually reacted a little bit with the fragrance, I think, and it kind of turned it a red color, which it did happen last time I made this soap, which this isn't the same soap, but I did make an oatmeal milk and honey, or an oat milk and honey soap in October. And that one I actually did use oatmeal in. This one I decided not to use oatmeal or coconut milk, and the reason for that is just because I love additives, I really do, but the honey itself was enough for me this time. I like to keep my soaps as simple as I can, just because, you know, the more additives you add in, the more chance you have of either having it screw up, or there's a boatload of different things that can go wrong. I also tried to do a little bit better in terms of pouring, so you guys could see more of what the pouring situation looks like. So you'll have to let me know if you think that's better. Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, why don't you hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification and like the video. It helps me out a ton and it is free. So basically what I am going to finish up doing here is adding a small bit of texture to the top. This actually took a lot longer to set up than what I originally wanted it to, which is why I ended up making the second coffee soap. I keep wanting to call it caramel coffee, but I already made that soap. When I made the Vanilla Cappuccino Soap, I was gonna record it, but this honey soap took so long to set up that I'm like, okay, I gotta get this done because my boyfriend's gonna be home soon and I gotta clean up and make sure that, you know, there's not a whole mess of soap all over the place. But I did just cut to the top of the yellow layer being a little bit more set up and a little bit more textured. The yellow layer was colored with yellow Vibrance, also from Nurture Soap, and then this top is going to be a kind of white, not as white as it is here. This fragrance color does discolor to a light tan, but I'm using titanium dioxide from Wholesale Supplies Plus. And then what I just did there was I took a little bit of the top and I sectioned it off, because what I was going to do was pipe on tiny little black lines behind the bees, but I ended up using way too much charcoal, activated charcoal for my coloring, and it didn't end up setting up. So we ended up not using that. But this is the Vanilla Cappuccino Soap that I've been talking about so much. I absolutely love this soap. Like, it is absolutely amazing in terms of smell. Didn't forget the coffee grounds this time. I may have went a little overboard with the amount of coffee grounds that I used, but we're not going to talk about it. The coffee grounds are actually pretty soft, so that's kind of why I went a little overboard. Here I am just texturing the top a little bit, which is oddly satisfying to watch. And then I'm going to throw some coffee grounds on top with a few extra of the soap dough coffee beans that I made for the caramel coffee soap that I didn't use up. I threw them on here to use them up. I don't like to have a lot of extra stuff because I don't have a lot of space right now. But this soap is scented with 3 different scents. It's a custom blend of caramel coffee, espresso, and then a vanilla kind of buttercream mix of a scent, and they are just absolutely stunning together. I'm hoping that it all sticks up in the cure process, because a lot of times coffee soaps and coffee fragrances will fade, but I did actually use coffee in that soap. So hopefully it all stays, because right now it smells amazing. So what you're watching now is me just cutting the oatmeal milk and honey soap. And as you can see, I ended up taking the bees off, which is why I didn't show you the decoration process on the top. It was a complete disaster and a complete mess, which it doesn't look like it here, but it was. I was like in tears. I was so upset. What happened was I made the wings of the bees a little bit too big. So if I would have kept them on the soap and cut them, the multi-bar cutter would have cut the actual wings off the soap. And who wants bees without wings, right? So I had the idea to take off the bees and leave just the little black lines that you can see. I decided to just keep those on there so I could see where to put the bees afterwards. And because I ended up using more titanium dioxide in the top layer, I mixed that with a little bit of extra water, which added more water to the soap. It hadn't 100% set up, like it set up just enough for me to take it out of the mold and cut it. So I was able to actually push the little bees back in, which I'll show you in just a second. But I actually made all of those little tiny, I call them soap sprinkles, by hand. I took the longest way possible, the longest route, but it did end up turning out really, really cute. And I'm really, really happy with this soap. Hopefully all of you like it as much as I do. The colors work really well together. Yes, I did totally just drop that soap on accident, but it's okay. It turned out fine still. But let me show you really quickly what the bees look like on top of the soap, so you can kind of see what I meant about the wings being cut off. But this is what I meant by the wings would have been cut off. So see how the wing hangs over a little bit? That would have ended up being cut off if I would have left the bees on. I still think it looks super cute the way it is, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out, honestly. I did also, because cutting is honestly my favorite part of a soap video, sometimes I'll just go ahead and scoot to the end just to watch the cutting process. But I wanted to show you the cut really quickly of what this soap looked like. I am definitely going to be keeping a couple of bars of this soap for myself because it smells so amazing. It is like one of those coffee smells that'll just wake you up in the morning. And I'm going to also have a coffee scrub also with this fragrance, which I'm super excited about. But I did use a different mold. I got a wooden mold for Christmas, and it's amazing. I love it, and I'm going to be using it even more, but it does make smaller loaves than what my 2 single loaf molds make. So there's only going to be about 15 or 16 bars of this soap available on February 6th at 3 p.m. Eastern if you'd like to grab one. You can find all of the information below. You can also give us a follow on Instagram if you want to be up to date with all of those things. And don't forget to subscribe to us because I got more videos coming. Oh, and before I go, you are not going to want to miss the video for next week because it is absolutely amazing. The soap that I made, you guys are gonna, your mind's gonna be blown. I was in tears. I was so happy with the way that it came out, and I was just I'm so proud of it. So I'm excited to share it all over and show you. It actually ended up taking me about 13 or 14 hours to complete that soap from start to finish. I hope you like it, and I'll see you guys next week.